Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, you Potter Than Hellions. Welcome to a new episode of the Potter Than Hell podcast. My name is Steve Wright. I am your host, and I am here with our newly named co-host, and his name is...
BB Hellions. What's going on?
All right, thank you, BB. And I just have to say, we're doing this episode semi-solo. BC is unavailable for this podcast, so we have BB. And he's not just pinch hitting, he is an actual co-host of the show now. And welcome aboard, BB.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Like I said before in earlier podcasts, this is easy for us. We've been talking like this in Steve's porch for years. So it's almost like second nature to us. So well, thanks for having me. Thanks for including me. And I love the homework that I have to do.
We had an excellent episode today. It's going to be a little different from what you guys are used to. We have had interviews on here before, but we had a really cool interview today with the awesome drummer from the band DC4. His name is Shawn Duncan, and we discussed a lot of topics. You guys, I know I picked DC4 as one of my hidden gems many episodes ago. I hope you guys have checked them out. If you have not, check them out now. It's capital D, capital C, and the number 4. Great band. Jeff Duncan is the lead guitar player and the vocalist. He is also one of the lead guitar players in Armored Saint. The other lead guitar player in the band is Rowan Robertson. He was one of Ronnie James Dio's guitar players. He was on the Lock Up the Wolves album, and he is the current touring guitar player for Bang Tango. And he's actually, I even saw him one morning on Good Morning America playing in Billy Ray Cyrus's band, which I thought was kind of crazy. And we talk a little bit about that on the interview with him, and of course Shawn Duncan on drums and their brother Matt Duncan on bass.
Yeah, really great interview. You know, Shawn was really opened up to any questions we had. Nothing hidden. Great interview, and when you guys hear it, you're going to really be surprised at the new DC4 stuff coming out and the little packages they're going to have. So check that out.
Yeah, we talked about a broad variety of topics with Shawn, and he was very open. We got into some of the recording stuff and some of the songs he likes and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's roll that interview right now. Hello, you Potter Than Hellions. We are here with Shawn Duncan, the awesome drummer from DC4, from Odin. Killer B it's Killer B, right?
Yeah, Killer B out of Sweden.
Okay, awesome. And you're also involved in a Alice in Chains tribute band called Them Bones, correct?
Actually, the band's called Memory Lane.
Oh, okay, Memory Lane. Why am I thinking Them Bones?
I don't know, but it sounds like there's probably a tribute band out there to them called that.
Oh, okay, okay. My bad. I apologize. So, Shawn, let's get right into it. You guys are a musical family. Your brother Jeff, your guitar player for DC4, also a guitar player in Armored Saint. Your brother Matt plays bass with DC4, and Rowan Robertson rounds out DC4. Could you tell us, how did DC4 form, you guys?
You know, it's kind of a long story because me and Jeff have been playing music together since we were, in junior high school. And various bands eventually morphed into Odin. And then after Odin, we just always continued to play together. And as we did continue to play together, it turned into DC4. So it's like it's been a constant morphing of everything that we do through the years is kind of how I can basically say it best. I've always said that DC4 is basically what Odin would have eventually gone to, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay, absolutely.
So Shawn, the music growing up in your house with the three brothers in a band, what were your influences as a child? Like, is one of your parents maybe into the music? How did that form?
Well, our father was a songwriter.
Okay, so there's always music when you were younger in the house.
We we were surrounded with music, and he wrote songs for the Fifth Dimension and the Association and the Marquettes, and there's a sports theme in every baseball game and any sports game that you go to called Let's Go with the hand clap, and my dad wrote that.
Really?
So,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So we were surrounded by music, and my father used to do a lot of even like top 40 stuff in clubs. So we had bands coming over at the house and practicing in the living room, and so we were surrounded with it.
Right.
Everywhere we went, we had, there was music in the car, in Chicago, and the Spinners, and the Four Tops, and just a very eclectic mix of musical surroundings in general. And then as we developed on our own, it changed a bit too, because we became more into our own various different bands and whatnot. I got heavily into Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith and Van Halen, and my brothers were more into Kiss and that type of stuff. And
Right.
as time goes on, we all got really into things like UFO, and it just turns into we went hard rock and metal. All of the things we really liked steered towards hard rock and metal, eventually evolving into Odin. But I mean, we
Right.
had Cheap Trick, and it goes on and on.
Now, when you and your brother Jeff were in Odin, then after that, when you make DC4 and your brother Matt comes in, was your brother Matt always into music? Was he like in different bands as well, or did he just kind of follow in you and Jeff's footsteps?
Well, Matt played a lot when during the Odin days. He actually had a band called Castle, and they opened up for us a few times. The thing about Odin is that, I mean, when we did our first very little EP called Caution, Jeff was, I want to say he was about 13, and so that would make me 15. And so by the time Don't Take No, and so Matt was younger than us.
Right.
So it's like we were too young to be doing it as it is at the level that we were starting to do it at. But Matt was really too young. So he followed in our footsteps. He was just a little bit behind us, but that was more due to age than it was anything else. He might have been involved in that. Who knows?
Right. Now, when you guys first started DC4, you guys put out Mood Swings, which was just an EP. How did that come together? How did you guys say, once you went from Odin and you kind of, as you say, kind of morphed into DC4? How did that EP come about?
Well, between Odin and DC4, we had a band. Well, we did a metal band called Bird of Prey, and then that was me and Jeff. And Matt was actually involved in that as well, another singer, and that was a pretty metal thing. And then we did Human Nature, which turned into DC4 with a guitar player named Highland Church. And the thing is even with Odin, for instance, everything we've always just like when we had enough songs, we just go in and record. It really didn't wait around for somebody to give us a big pile of money to go in and record. We just did it. We just went in and recorded, and then put it out. It's kind of, it's not that we're staunchly independent. It's just like, well, why wait around? Let's just go make music and put it out. And that's kind of how it's always been with us. So up until this point, even like I said, even the Odin album was the only one that was actually licensed to a major label was Fight for Your Life, and that was only licensed in Japan. So all the Odin stuff was fairly independent. Even Don't Take No for an Answer, although that one went through Green World, but that was an independent release. So that's just something that we do.
Okay,
so it's kind of, we had the songs and we're like, let's go in and let's record them.
Let's go do them.
Right.
So it kind of sounds like you said. It sounds like you guys are still doing it that way. And I personally did not become aware of you guys until the Explode album came out. I don't really know actually how. I think I was just going through Facebook or something, and someone posted a video. I think it was just the song Explode, and I was like, holy shit, these guys are great. And then I ordered the album online from you guys, and then from there, I mean, you guys had me hooked. I went back. I got Volume 1. Absolutely love Volume 1. Just fantastic playing. Now, who was the other guitar player in the band before Rowan Roberts came in?
That was Highland Church is his name.
Okay.
He still does some stuff with a girl named Electra out here, and he's a talented guy. I love Highland to death. It's great to see him when I get to see him, because he had moved away for a while. He had moved back home. He's from Missouri, and he had moved back home for a while, and that's kind of where we were left. And then Jeff did a little like cover tour with Chapman and Harry, and Rowan was the other guitar player, and they kind of clicked. And then Jeff's like, hey, why don't you come jam with us? And then that turned in. That's how Rowan came into the band.
Really?
And it was really funny because he came in September, and in December we put Explode out. I mean, we recorded Explode the same year. So that's how quick that just like worked.
So he really gelled with you guys once you guys sat down and played with him.
Yeah. But Rowan's like one of the coolest, most laid back, awesome people that anybody could ever meet. So I think he would gel with pretty much anybody.
That's cool. And I love his playing, because we didn't realize that he was the current touring guitar player with Bang Tango. And
he goes out with them.
Yeah, because we saw them at M3, and I walked by him. And I'm like, why does that guy look familiar? You're down there, there's thousands of people. And then Bang Tango was the next band, so we went down, we're looking, I'm like, holy shit, that's Rowan Roberts. I'm thinking, that's where I knew him from. And I wish I, recognized him instantly. I would have liked to talk to him. He seems like he would be an approachable guy. But it was really cool, and I was like, would love to see you guys play the M3 festival. And, even play anywhere on the East Coast. Even if you guys played New York City, we would, be there in a heartbeat to see you guys.
Yeah, we're dying to come out there too, and we're hoping that with the new album, we're able to get out there. And we're working now with Tom Hazard over at EMP Records, and he's going to be handling some stuff and helping us with the agencies and whatnot once the album is at a point where we have an actual release date.
Right, because back to your newer album, I know in the beginning, I think in April they said maybe end of summer, beginning of fall. Do you guys have any clue when that may come out?
Well, as of right now, I'm going to say February, March at the latest. Okay. It's really been difficult to get us all together to actually do the recording, and right. that was the hardest part, because I was gone, Rowan was gone, Jeff was gone, and it's like we're never all gone at one time if we're out playing with somebody. It's always staggered.
Right, you have to pay the bills, right?
Yeah, and it's what we all do. You want to keep busy, but it's also good for you to stay sharp, because I mean, if you're just in one band, unless it's Alice in Chains or something that can really float your boat, you kind of need to be out there so you're playing more. It's just how it is. You get better the more you play, and I've always felt that you can sit in the studio and play your guitar or play your drums all day long, and it's on stage where you get better, because that's where your confidence is. You build confidence on stage. You don't build it in a rehearsal studio, and confidence is 90% of how you attack and how you approach music. So I think it's good and it's healthy. However, when it comes to us trying to get together to do a record, it's been quite a task. I mean, I finished my drum tracks in April.
Really?
Yeah, and now we're at a point where the bass is done, all rhythm guitars are done, and Jeff and Rowan are going in next week, and they'll knock out all the lead guitars and all the pretty stuff. And then we're just at vocals and mixing. So it's definitely coming to a point where it's almost complete. And I think that's just that's now the only thing we have to worry about is Jeff's schedule, because he'll be singing. You don't have to worry about scheduling me and Matt and him.
Right.
And, you know what I mean?
Right.
So now it gets easy from here out. And in the meantime, Bill's been mixing and getting the tracks in order and all that kind of stuff. So I think February March is pretty good guess on it, because you don't want to release anything over December. I think this thing's going to be wrapped up by the end of October.
Very cool. Now, do you think it's harder today to actually record an album than it was back in the Odin days, when all you guys were already, playing in the Sunset Strip? You guys are hanging out instead of, like, I know now, like, we just had Carl Kennedy on last week, and he talks about sending tracks and click tracks to one guy, and then the other guy will play on top of that. Now, do you think it's harder these days to record an album, or a little bit easier?
Well, it's a little easier from the standpoint of convenience.
Right.
And also, what a lot of people, when I was doing, the Odin record stuff, we were on 24-track tape. And the drummer had to know the parts to a T, because there really wasn't much editing that you could do with tape. You could cut a piece here and there, but you really couldn't edit it. So if you made a flub in a song, you basically had to do the whole song over.
Right. So you had to nail it.
Tough. Yeah. Now, if you have some, say you record, I still record like I'm on tape. It's habit, and it's. I don't necessarily need to have my drums all cut up and pasted together and stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. That's not organic, and that's not rock and roll,
Right.
So I play live, and I go through the whole song, and sometimes you might have something off here and there, and you can just move a little thing if you made a minor mistake, instead of having to do the whole song to get all over again. If the energy's there and the feel is there, and it has something to say, you keep it, you know. And if there's a little mistake, you just fix it. I don't believe in rewriting a whole drum part. And, some people will go through it and look at the patterns, and if the kick drum isn't exactly on the one, they'll move it. And you know what? You're creating a robot. It's not a drummer. It's a robot.
Right.
And you might as well just program that kit.
Right. You want it to be just have more of a live flow to it than just stopping and starting and doing a part and then putting it together.
Music's supposed to breathe.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to breathe. It's supposed to have some ebb and flow. It's supposed to have. I'm not saying that you have these huge timing issues and problems. That's a whole different thing. But it has to have some vibe to it. And once you start putting everything exactly on the click, and I mean down to the fills and everything, it becomes robotic. And to be honest with you, I think that's what really was hurting rock for a long time. Rock music in general was that it was too mechanical, and it lost that. I mean, look at the bands now that are coming out that are, from Clutch to I like bands like Sasquatch, and I like bands like the stoner rock stuff, and it's organic, and Rival Sons.
Rival
right?
Sons.
It sounds like a real record. It doesn't sound like a squashed digital thing. So if you do that, getting back to your original question, so if you send parts around, that's all fine and dandy, as long as everybody's got the gear that works.
Right.
And because when we did this, I actually played the drums in an old school studio. As a matter of fact, X recorded there, and a bunch of other pretty big bands from back in the day. Went through a big board and the whole thing into Pro Tools.
Okay.
So you kind of had that ambience of the room and the whole vibe of that. But I was playing to the demos. My brother Jeff would write the songs and send them to me, and we'd go back and forth. We discussed the songs. And I'd say, can you change that? Let's cut this, and kind of rearrange some things. Some things you don't have to, because Jeff's been writing songs for so long, and he really he doesn't need coaching. At that point, it becomes about opinion rather than, oh, that's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
right.
Definitely.
So when I recorded, I actually had all those songs complete, and I played to the demos. Now the demos that he did were with a drum machine. So the meter's there.
Okay.
It's like playing to a click.
Right.
Except, you know what I'm saying? So
yes.
So that's how we did it.
Very cool.
And so it feels like you're playing with a band. And you get energy off vocals, you get energy off of all that stuff, and it's just I don't know, that's the way we do it.
Right.
So from that aspect, it was I think it's easier now. It's definitely cheaper. Going
Sure.
into a 24-track studio back in the day was extremely expensive. It's vastly. The difference now is ridiculous in price.
Right.
Which is good.
Yes.
Right. A couple weeks ago, you and I were kind of going back and forth on Facebook, and I asked you, and I just want for any DC4 fans out there that are friends of the downloading stuff, and I mentioned it to you that on Electric Ministry, the song "Translucent Life" was left off of the digital copy of it, and I was like, I have the hard copy, but when I downloaded it on iTunes off of the website, I'm going through it and the album's playing. I'm like, where the hell is Translucent Life? It is like my ultimate favorite DC4 song. So then I had to go out of my iTunes and then like physically put it on my phone from the album itself. And I just love that song. So if you guys come and play the East Coast, I will pay you extra to play that song.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, and I don't know if if you put the CD in, I've been told, I don't know, that Translucent Life, when it comes on, the word isn't, it's like, how it'll tell you what song's playing?
Right.
I've heard it says Dirty Hands. I think there was a problem in the math process where it's actually labeled incorrectly and or something like that, where like if somebody was to transfer that, right,
okay,
what they would see two dirty hands,
right,
as opposed to seeing Translucent Life. So that's kind of what I think happened.
Oh, okay.
Again, that's part of doing things yourself sometimes.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm definitely a guy that I want the CD itself in my hand, because I know when Electric Ministry was coming out, I went for the option to get the signed one. So
yeah,
and I do have the signed copy of that. And when we get this up on our show, I will post a picture of the signed one. And I like that you guys offer that you can get the personalized thing. I got that, and I was like, and the good, actually, even the better thing that I liked about it is when you guys sent that CD out, I got the CD and it had the sleeve in it, but it also had an extra sleeve, the one that you guys signed, which I thought was really cool. So you could display one and still have one with your album.
I just had to make a bunch of extra sleeves, and I was like, we're going to sign these and send these. And I actually stole that idea from a band out of England called Stereophonics, because I had ordered something signed by them, and they sent it and I go, oh, how cool is this? I got both. I get the album, and then I can stash this. It's a great idea.
I could not agree more. Are you guys planning on doing that again for your new CD?
Well, that's what we haven't discussed that yet, because this one is actually going to get released by Highball Music and distributed through Sony everywhere. So I don't know what the label wants to do. I know there will be some special stuff involved in it, and there's some pretty good surprises that we have that on the rec. We always have like a guest or two. So this next one is going to be there's something on there that's going to be pretty cool. I can't really discuss it, but when it comes out and the news is out, it'll be like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Great.
Yeah. So all in all, the I don't know what we're gonna do from the package front. We sent artwork to Bill over there, and they're playing with it, and then we'll be going back and forth on the cover and the artwork, and then what we're going to do about the packaging. But I would like to do that, because I think that when you get somebody on a pre-sale, you want to give them something a little more than just oh, here's your signed copy. It's whatever we can do to make it more as a thank you, because it's like a thank you, really. You're thanking them, because in our case for Electric Ministry, that all of those upfront signed copies that people ordered pretty much paid for the manufacturing of it.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so it's a huge.
That's a great way to
it's
compensate and cover the expense.
Yeah, exactly, and it is a thank you. Again, we've done everything by ourselves, and when Odin just signed a deal with EMP, Dave Elson's label, and they're gonna re-release all of the Odin catalog.
Great.
And, starting with "Don't Take No for an Answer," which we're hoping will be January or February. So, but what's cool about that is it will actually be the first time as that record will be released on CD, because when we released it, there were no CDs. So,
right, sure.
Yeah, you only had cassettes and albums, and that was it. You only had vinyl and cassettes. So now this will be the first time that it'll actually be released on CD, and it's worldwide too. It's Universal
Great.
and SPV in Europe, and then that'll be followed up after that with probably "Fight for Your Life," which never was released in the States at all. So there's that going on as well. And
right.
But again, that before that was all just us making records.
That's great. We appreciate the heads up on the outcoming Odin stuff. I can't wait to hear that. And you mentioned vinyl. Any chance of for the vinyl people out there of any DC4 being released on vinyl?
I have been told that the new album will be released on vinyl as well.
Very cool. Yeah, our other co-host that isn't here today, he's a big vinyl guy. And he's trying to snag me into it, and I've been saying for the longest time my wife will absolutely kill me if I start recollecting vinyl.
Yeah, it just sounds so much better though.
I know it does.
I don't know, even not on the best player, it sounds better.
It does. It's got more of a warm sound to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's deeper, it's warmer. It works. Digital squashes ambience, so I think that's what it has to do with. But I do think, however, that the digital technology is catching up in regards to sound quality, and I think a lot of the newer, heavier records that are coming out, it's starting to sound like a real band again, as opposed to a squashed the drums don't all sound exactly the same and stuff. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, Shawn, just on your name, DC4, we know Duncan Clan is the DC. What is the 4? Is there a missing Duncan brother that decided to hang up his rhythm guitar and turn into an investor?
It's so simple. It's just that there's 4 of us.
Okay.
It's easy. But here's a funny story, and I'm going to make it quick because it's a long story. But the name, we didn't know this, but the name Robertson is actually a derivative of Duncan, and the clan in Scotland, the Donaclide is what it's called. The leader, the official chief of that clan is a Robertson, and what it was there was a Robert Duncan who helped. I believe it wasn't Henry, it was King. It was one of the kings in King James, I believe it was. King James in England fight against, I believe it was the Spaniards, and he was knighted, and he was the only Scotsman to ever be knighted by the English. It was like unheard of, and then everybody after that became Robert's son, because and so that's where the name comes from. But he was actually Robert Duncan. Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's just odd that's how that came to play. But we had already called the band DC4 before Rowan was in the band, because that was we called it that when Highland was in the band. So it just kind of morphed into that. When I did some research, I like researching stuff like that, and I started reading about it, and I go, oh my God, the name actually comes from.
Wow, that's
Duncan.
crazy.
How bizarre. Yeah. So he's our brother from another mother.
Yes.
All right.
It's somewhere down the road, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome. Real quick before we let you go here, we don't want to keep you too long. Could you just give us a quick overview of your stint in the Bullet Boys?
Oh, I had a lot of fun with them. I did two national tours, had a lot of fly outs. I went to Guam with them. It was a fun experience. I'm a type of guy that needs to do a lot of things and stay busy, and sometimes when you're involved in a project like that, things come up, and if you have a schedule of stuff, you can't go do them, and it finally came to a point where it was like, look, I got this Odin stuff, I got this DC4 stuff, I got the Killer Bee stuff, I've got my band. It just, I just didn't really have the time to be involved, you know?
Right.
So in a nutshell, that was it. But it was, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time.
Awesome. And on the album, the Elefante album, it has you and another drummer down. Did you plan most of the songs on that album?
Well, here's the thing. I was in the band at the time, but I didn't play on that album. The drummers that played on that album were Stephen Mills and I believe it was Rich Green. I didn't play on the record. I was actually surprised that my name was on it when it came out because I was the drummer, but it's kind of like, Fred Curry didn't play on the Cinderella record either. It's all Cozy and Ansley, but his name's on the records. That's kind of how it was because at that time I was in the band and going out to do the tour for it.
Oh, okay.
So I ended up being on it. So that's the thing there, but I didn't play on it.
Oh, okay.
The only thing I recorded with them was there was an MS benefit that we did it's called Rock Against MS, and we recorded a song over at 606 called I forget what you want or something. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, that's the only thing I recorded with them that's on it.
Cool. Shawn, talking about your benefits, you do like benefits for MS, you do stuff for the vets, you do like Rock Against Human Trafficking, which is awesome. Like, you're always out there, you're so busy. I've seen you play on YouTube, Fairies Wear Boots, and then like recent stuff like Evanescence. Is there like one song, like even if it's a DC4 song or an Owen song or a Bullet Boy song that you just love playing?
Well, generally speaking, I really enjoy playing the DC4 stuff. I wrote it,
Right.
It's me. So there's a lot of those songs that, This Is What You Wanted is one song I love to play.
Mm-hmm.
I like the feel of it, and it's heavy, and it's kind of got that Cozy Powell type of a thing, which I dig. And then Explode's really fun to play. Cabin Fever's fun to play. And then on the newer, this new record we're doing, there's some pretty. I think it's if you got Explode and Electric Ministry and just squashed them together, you'd have this.
Cool.
They're two different records for sure. I mean, all of them are fairly different, but there's a high energy theme that seems to run through them all. This one is kind of like, I don't know. It's I can't wait for it to get done because it's really, really good.
Cool.
Neither can we, because I know you pretty much played a little snippet on Facebook, and I was like, listened to it about 10 times. I'm like, oh my God, it's just going to be awesome. And we appreciate you coming on the show with us here. And do you have anything you would like to plug, or any causes you'd like to mention before we let you go here?
Well, just that the Odin stuff will be re-released next year. On EMP label group, and then the DC4 stuff's coming out, and that'll be high vol, and that'll be all around the same time. Actually, we'll have releases, and then I'm heading to Sweden in November, and I'll be working on a new Killer Bee record. I'm not sure of the release date on that, or with whom. I believe they're with Target and Mighty Music in Europe, and so there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out, and it's just fun, and I'm enjoying myself, and I hope that everybody else stays happy. Can find it within themselves to have some tolerance for each other. That's really all that matters.
Right.
Okay, actually, thank you very much, and we really appreciate you giving your time up for talking to us on our podcast here.
Yeah, Shawn, we really appreciate it. Taking your time out on your extremely busy schedule and giving us half an hour of your time. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate it.
Oh, no worries, man. Thank you very much for having me. I enjoy talking, and as you can see, because I'm sure I rambled a bit.
Oh no! Hey, we're glad. I mean, if you ever check our show out, you'll hear me yapping along through the whole show. So we're glad to let someone else just tell their story for a change.
Oh, right on. Thank you, man.
All right, thank you very much, Shawn. Okay, BB, that was an awesome interview, wasn't it?
That is great. 2 for 2. We had 2 drummer interviews on here. This is a great show. Great guy, really, really, really fantastic drummer. You guys never ever heard of DC4. You really have to check these guys out. They are a very tight band.
I could not agree more, and Shawn was very open with everything. A really cool guy to talk to. I got to be friends with him on Facebook, and hopefully they will play the East Coast at some point, and we can actually meet those guys for real.
Yeah, that'd be really neat. Maybe even get his brother Jeff or Matt on here, or even Rowan, talk about the old Lock Up the Wolf days, 1990 at Dio.
That would be unbelievable. Okay, at this point we're going to we're not going to gyp you guys this week. We're going to do our hidden gems, and I'm going to let BB go first.
All right, thanks, buddy. This week my hidden gem is a song, and since we had Shawn on here, we very quickly talked about a band that he has over in Sweden. It's called Killer Bee. The song is called Shout It Out.
Loud?
Well, no, just shout it out.
Oh, okay.
I know you had to get your Kiss little plug there, but
I did. This is going to be the record for how long it's taken.
Yes. So the band Killer Bee released an album 2016. It's called Eye in the Sky, but the song is Shout It Out. There's a video they released with this. Shawn plays drums on it, and it's a very different sounding. You guys are, if you're not used to the Sweden metal out there, it's really a little bit darker, a little bit heavier, but a really, really good tune. It's called Shout It Out.
Loud.
Not.
Sorry. Okay, Dylan, what do you got for us this week?
So this week, my hidden gem is a supergroup from, I'm pulling an audible, by the way.
Okay.
It's a supergroup. They released an album in 2010. The band is called The Damned Things.
Ooh,
and it features Scott Ian and of Anthrax and Robert Caggiano, formerly of Anthrax, currently of Volbeat. We saw him play live recently, and he was out of this world. But it also features Keith Buckley and Josh Newton of Every Time I Die, and more, I would say, a little more curiously, Joe Troman and Andy Hurley of Fall Out Boy. I'm a huge Fall Out Boy fan, not their recent stuff, but I was really surprised to see Fall Out Boy and Anthrax and Every Time I Die coming together to form this pretty awesome band. Their first album, Ironiclast, is really kicking. There's a lot of really cool songs on there. Like Handbook for the Recently Deceased is awesome. We Got a Situation Here is the big single off of it.
That one's really good.
But it's a really solid album, and there's been rumors that they recorded a 5-track EP that still has yet to come out. So we're not too sure about what's going to happen with the future of the group, because I know Joe Troman and Andy Hurley are currently with Fall Out Boy, making a new album and touring. So I hope they get back together. But The Damned Things, they're a great band to check out.
Yeah, check that out. And actually, there's a song called Bad Blood on there that I really like, that is really cool. And it's got to be tough for them, too, because you have guys now in 3 or 4 different bands trying to get together to do something. So that'll be interesting to see if they can get back together and get something else out. Unless, like you said, they may already have something, we don't know. Yeah. And it's funny that BB picked the song called Shout It, because I picked there's this band no one knows, they're called Kiss. They have a song called Shout It Out Loud, and that's going to be my pick for this week.
Yeah, it's very different. They have
Kiss,
2 singers, right?
No, is that like
2 guys sing on it?
Is that like a girls band, Kiss?
It is.
Are they like lips. A tribute band to Seal, Kiss from a Rose?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely.
Very nice.
They're on that Batman soundtrack. Yep. Actually, my pick this week does actually tie in with Kiss a little bit. It's a band called Little Caesar. They opened up for them on the Hot in the Shade tour.
Oh, the
pizza place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We know that.
Pizza,
You
yeah.
guys, okay, I deserve that one. But they're called Little Caesar. Great band.
Pizza.
And the album is great. Songs like Down and Dirty, Hard Time. They do a version of the Motown hit Chain of Fools, which is actually pretty cool. And songs like Drive It Home, Cajun Panther. Great live band. I was fortunate to get to see these guys twice live. When Kiss had the Hot in the Shade tour, I saw them in Binghamton, New York, and then I think it was maybe 5 days later I got to see them again in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and it was just they were a great band. They opened up, and then Slaughter played, and then Kiss played. So if you guys get a chance, it's available on Amazon Music, and it's also available on iTunes. It's called Little Caesar, self-titled album. If you guys just like kind of gritty, dirty rock and roll, that is a band for you. And that's our hidden gems for this week. And we're gonna kind of flip things over to a different kind of little format this week. We're gonna do our thank yous at the end of the show, and we're gonna let BB take a couple.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Here we go. I want to thank everybody for sharing us, liking us, whatever we do here. So here we go. We got John Girth Connor, Craig Thomas, Matt Gerber Maida, Dennis Tolbert, Antonius Galvitz, John Novobilski, Victor Cruz, Tony Tallarico, R.A. Furiosi, Jim Polkowski, Christina Green, Spencer Wetmore, Mark Arnold, Walt Agnatovich, Adam Cox, Cindy Russick, Jim Rubin, Pat Bass, Michelle Serra, Christina Gallinat Apostolico, Brian Rushin, and my lovely wife, Randy Bannon.
Thanks, BB. Good bunch of people we have here listening to our podcast, liking our stuff, sharing it, checking us out. I've had people that we know in town here kind of stop me on the street and say they enjoy the podcast, and it's really appreciated, you guys. I'm going to start my thank yous, as always, with my lovely wife, Corey, for putting up with me listening to all this crap all the time. Dylan for putting up with me with all this crap all the time behind the board there. Mark Satorka, thank you for doing our music. And actually, I was just chatting back and forth with Mark the other day, and he wants to get together, and maybe we will be doing some new theme music for the show here. And I'm going to thank, as always, my two co-hosts, BB and BC. Stephen Michael and Sonny Pooney from the Grown Up Rock podcast, David Hudson and Chris Craig from the Digital Killed the Radio Star podcast, Jackie Leader Yingling, Scott Sadowski, Nick Uzalko, Tom Marinchak, Stephen Barchak, Steve Jaborski, Matt Porter and Bobby Dreyer from the Kiss Room, Amber Bitts, Kaylin Provo, Mark Hoover, and Jen Vena Roberts. And I just want to thank everybody out there for listening to us, checking us out. Hope you enjoy the interview today. Check out our older episodes if you're new to listening to this podcast. Hope you enjoyed the interview with Shawn Duncan. You can find us on iTunes, on YouTube. We can find us, we're on Twitter, Castbox, Ear Peeler, pretty much all the venues that you can find a podcast, we are on there. And any kind of reviews you guys could give us, we appreciate. And BB, any final words for our gang out there?
I'd like to thank all our fans. Thank you guys for letting me, officially jump aboard. I was always, I always felt like I was part of the family, but thank you for officially letting me hop on the crazy bandwagon here. And thank everybody out there. Thank you for sharing us. Get the word out. And we're only getting our word out from you guys. So the more you share us, the more you talk about us, the popular we get, and that'll really help us out. But thank you for everything you guys do out there.
Awesome. Dylan?
I just want to say thanks to Shawn Duncan for sitting down at his house and interviewing with us. It was a great interview. He's a well-spoken man and a kick-ass drummer. So I was really honored to be listening to him talk about his craft, and it was a fun little interview.
Absolutely. And once again, everybody out there, thank you very much. Thanks again to our awesome guest, Shawn Duncan, and we cannot wait to hear the new DC4 stuff. And like he said, the Odin stuff is going to be re-released, some of the stuff for the first time on CD, because when it was out, there was no such thing as CD, so that's how long ago that was. But those guys, they're a fantastic band. Check out DC4, and we will definitely see you next time, because there will be a next time.